day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are here with you, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart and whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And of course, I want to say to all of you who were with us for Nifty Thrifty's vendor event on this past Saturday, we had a great time. Of course, we were in the house, and we are available for rental space, of course, at our facility. All you have to do is text us on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424, and we will make certain that you have the booking that you need. We want to make certain that our facility, our complex, remains a community complex, so feel free to reach out to us. We have rental space available. It was a good time for all. And of course, we have coming up, which I'm making an announcement today, we have coming up a reminder announcement. Our Gospel Jazz Brunch, which will be coming up on Sunday, November the 9th. There are still tickets available for $35. The early bird tickets are all sold out. We do still have tickets available, but they're going fast, and we are filling up. So you don't want to miss this. We invite you to be with us for the Gospel Jazz Brunch immediately following Sunday service on starting at 1 p.m. at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue. If you're in need of tickets, contact us on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424, and I will direct you to the appropriate person that you need to speak with regarding purchasing tickets. And I want to remind everyone, we invite you to come and worship with us every Sunday at 10 a.m., New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. And if you know anyone who's dealing with food insecurities, we will provide them with food through our food source pantry at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. So our food source pantry is a public charity of its own entity. It is just located on the same complex at 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated you have feelings for someone, you said, who has no idea. You said you like everything about him, and because you are both in the same professional environments, it gives you an opportunity to encounter him often, and you want to know, how do you get him to know that you are interested in him? Okay, so let's begin here. You know, for women, it's really easy. You just have to make yourself available and present yourself as someone that would be of interest to him. Now, here's the thing you have to remember. Men actually are hunters by nature. We're hunters and we're nesters. However, some of us don't feel comfortable approaching a woman who has never made herself available or presented herself as being available. So, you know, we don't want to just go around, for lack of a better term, men don't want to just go around hitting on women. I mean, there are men who do that and eventually they become lounge lizards, but most men, dignified men, they'll let you know if they're interested by the way they communicate with you. However, if you make yourself available and present yourself as someone that they would be interested in, he'll respond. So let me tell you what that looks like. The next time you're in the same professional environment with him, instead of just working the room, you've got to be able to do that too. But if you connect with him, he'll work the room with you because you're both in the same professional settings. But you just have to present yourself to him. And what I mean by that is you can get in his space without getting in his face. You can make certain that you show that you're interested in what he's talking about. You can make certain that he sees that you're interested by making eye contact. You can show that you're interested by body language. You can show your level of interest that will then inspire him and provoke him to respond. And what I mean by that is, if you're giving him eye contact when he's talking, as opposed to trying to interject in the conversation while he's talking, that's going to show that you're interested in what he has to say. If you position yourself a little closer to him, instead of standing off, on the outside of the circle of people talking with him, he's going to not only notice you, but he's going to notice that you're interested. You just have to present yourself as someone he would be interested in, but you also have to show that you're available, because he doesn't know. He doesn't know if you're available. He sees you when you're in professional settings, in professional environments. You don't work together, but you both are in environments that put you in the same space from time to time. This has been going on with you for a few years, you said, and I can tell you the reason he hasn't responded is because, first of all, he doesn't want to make you feel uncomfortable, because men with dignity do that. They don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but they will let you know they're interested if you show that you're available. But you just have to do the things that will make him inspired and provoke him to communicate with you in a different way, not just on a professional level, but in a different way. So, listen, I get a lot of communications from some women who will say that they're interested in someone, but they don't know how. So you're not the only one. They don't know how to approach a man, or you don't really have to approach him in the sense of saying, will you go out to dinner with me? You don't have to approach him in the sense of saying, I'm interested in you. You just have to make yourself available and present yourself as someone he's interested in. So one of the things that you have to realize is that when you're meeting someone in a professional environment, they're going to look at you first as a professional. Because if they get involved in a relationship with you, they have to be able to take you into other professional settings that they enter into, and know that, every time they go somewhere, you're not going to look different. You're not going. I get it. The culture's got a whole thing going on where everybody changes their appearance on a continuous basis. Men like consistency, and if you don't have if you don't have a man who is consistent, you're going to have chaos in your life. That's just the bottom line. Dignified men like consistency. Some people will call it routine and say it's boring, but we like consistency. We don't want to have a lot of different things going on all the time. We got enough to deal with in society alone, in our careers, not to have to worry about things being changed up all the time. So, for you, I say, make yourself available. Present yourself to him as someone he would be interested in, and if you do that, he'll respond. Because at some point in time, he's going to, and perhaps on the first encounter with you doing just that, he's going to find out whether he can take you out to lunch or whether he can take you out to dinner. You're both single, so there's no reason for him not to take you out. You've got to know that the only thing holding you back is you. Because you've been spending more time with the women that you like in those professional settings than making yourself available to him. You know, I say this often, and I will say this continuously. Women, if you really want to develop a relationship with someone, stop talking to your girlfriends. You need to talk to a man, because he'll tell you just how to do it. We're men. We know men. The problem is women spend so much time talking to girlfriends about how to approach certain situations, and you don't have a clue of how men are wired. Neither does your girlfriends. And men, stop asking if you are doing this, stop asking your friends how you should deal with a woman. Men, if you have sisters, talk to your sisters. If you've got to know that they understand women more than you understand women. If you have a female who's in your professional environment that you talk to on a continuous basis, have that conversation with them. I'm not saying they've got to be female friends that you're hanging out with. I'm just saying have a conversation with the opposite sex. Women, if you have a brother, talk to your brother. If you have, talk to your father. He'll tell you how to deal with men, because we're men. You're going to find that when you make yourself available to this gentleman, and from what you indicated, he is that. He's a gentleman. He's a man of dignity. You'll find that if you make yourself available and present yourself to him, he'll respond accordingly. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue, where you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Okay, I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated your mother is dating a man who is 10 years younger, and since you believe that it will not last, you do not want her to be hurt, and you want to know how to address this with your mother. Okay, so let me first of all say this. You said your mother's 55 and the gentleman is 45. Okay. The 10-year difference at 45 and 55 is not that dramatic. And the reason is because at 45, he should know what he wants to accomplish in life. Your mother's a 55-year-old woman, and she's age 55. Let me rephrase that. And you said she doesn't look 55. And I know you two watched this together, so you did tell me that. You're in two different places, but you both watched the broadcast. So let me say this to you and your mother. Your mother's a 55-year-old, age 55. Let me rephrase that, because you said she doesn't look her age. And that's why the 45-year-old man was interested in her. So you got to realize that at 45, he should know what he wants to accomplish in life. And at 55, they're not that far apart. It'd be different if you were talking about, 21 and 31. There's some differences there, some life experiences difference. I'm not saying that people can't, someone 31 wouldn't have an interest in someone 21, or someone 21 wouldn't have an interest in someone 31. But there's more difference there. If these were kids, one was, if there were a 10-age gap in children, there's a problem there too. But all I'm saying to you is that there's not a big difference at 45 and 55. They're going to be able to share some life experiences. They're going to be able to share their career goals. I think you need to let them decide for themselves. And you got to know that because your mom's a young 55 and he's 45, the problem is you're now over 30, well, you're 31, and you're not in a relationship, and this is nothing directed at you, but you're not in a relationship. You're concerned about, that's the reason you're concerned about your mother being hurt. However, I just say to you, let these adults work out the relationship that they desire to have. But now, because your mother is watching the broadcast also, I'm going to say this to you. Be mindful of what you want to accomplish in this relationship. Because at the end of the day, you may want someone younger because he's interested in, because you're energetic and you think that's going to work best in a relationship for you. But you need a man of God. You need a man who loves God. And I don't know this gentleman, and you didn't go into any detail, but your daughter, I should say, didn't go into any detail, but I will tell you this. You need to be more concerned about his spiritual development and growth than about his continued trajectory as an adult. And I think that's where a lot of people get hung up. We're living in a culture that is so far away from God that we make allowances for people who don't have a relationship with the Lord. And we tend to conform to wherever someone else is. But the Bible says don't conform to what's going on in the culture or in the world, but be transformed with the renewing of our mind. So you have to look at, is he trying to be renewed, transformed, and renewed in his mind? And is he a believer in the predestination of God? Okay, this is what God has appointed for my life. This is what God has purposed for my life. And then you'll know, you'll have a better understanding of whether or not you're going to get hurt in this, or is it going to be something that is sustainable long term, and when you're 70 he'll be 60, and that whole thing. It's for you to make that decision before you continue any further in the relationship, because at the end of the day, it's really not about the flesh, it's all about the spirit. And we've been getting it wrong for so long, we think we've been doing it the right way. I often use that analogy. We do things the wrong way for so long, we begin to think that it's the right way to do things. But at the end of the day, we've got to do things differently to get different results. And so I will encourage you both, mother and daughter, be prayerful about the direction you're both moving forward in life. Make certain that either of you, when you make a decision to enter into a relationship with someone, that you enter into a relationship with someone who loves God, who has a relationship with the Lord, and that is being transformed and renewed every day. Consistently, I should say. We're constantly, that's part of our development when we're being transformed with the renewing of our mind. And ladies, you all need a man of God, someone who loves God, who loves the Lord. Men, you all need a woman of God. That's what we need. We need someone we can be equally yoked with, who puts God first. And this is for all of our listeners and viewers, because the culture we're living in is really messed up. We're living in a world that has gotten so far away from God that they don't even know their way back. But the good news is, Christ said if we draw near to him, he'll draw near to us. So we still have the opportunity to get this thing right. And that's the blessing. When we can get into a relationship with someone who we can equally yoke with, someone who wants the same thing out of life, someone who wants to put God first, then we're all going to be in a much better place, and we're all going to have a much better quality of life. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop at the retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. And if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com, and The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at the retail store. They have everything that you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. However, I want to remind everyone, you may encounter along the way someone who is dealing with food insecurities. And if you encounter someone who is dealing with food insecurities, and you are in our Delaware Valley, if you're in our local region, you can direct them to us at our public charity, our New Life Food Source Pantry Incorporated, by texting the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. We will make certain that we give them instructions on how they can receive food from our New Life Food Source Pantry. We've got plenty of food. We welcome all. There's no restrictions. All you have to do is show up, give us your name, we will provide you with food. But we'll give you instructions on how to receive that if you know someone that is dealing with food insecurities. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have never been very nice to your stepfather, who has really been good to you. However, now that you're an adult, you do not know how to tell him that you're sorry that you never embraced him. So let me begin by saying this. And this is why one of the things we often say is that, you know, we are very capable of addressing blended families. And let me tell you, you don't need to tell him you're sorry that you never embraced him. What you need to do is just do something different. Just begin to embrace him. He did what he needed to do for you because he was trying to get you to a place where you could have a great quality of life. That's what men do, real men. And even though you weren't capable of emotionally embracing him while you were younger, it's never too late unless you do nothing. So just change the way that you have interacted with him. Respond to him, embrace the love. Sometimes people find it difficult to, you know, when there's blended families, sometimes the children find it difficult to embrace a new parent because they find it difficult to love more than two people, mother and father. But, however, the more love you can receive in your life, the better quality of life you're going to have. Let's just keep it right there, real simple. You don't have to apologize for the way that you have treated him. You just need to do something different. You just need to embrace him. You need to accept the love. You need to embrace the love. And if you do that, he'll know that he was appreciated. He'll know that you are in a different place now, and he'll be able to do all of the things that he would desire to do for you as a daughter. And you'll find that you'll have the quality of life that he always desired for you. Because at the end of the day, you know, men understand that women are emotional. And when you have a new parent who's not your biological parent that enters your life, your emotions sometimes are all over the place. They are, how can I love this man when I still have a father? You know, as a child, you might go through the emotions of, I'd really like my mother and father to get back together again. You know, but when that's not possible because it's not feasible, what I mean by that is, you know, sometimes as parents, we choose someone for the wrong reason. And it turns out that it's not the person God has appointed for our lives, because that's why we go through the challenges that we deal with as adults. But at the end of the day, when we finally find the one, the person that God has assigned for our lives, and then those two people come together and raise children, they're raising them with love. And that's why you said he's been good to you, and you've been not so receptive to him. You haven't embraced him. Well, now you're an adult. You can do that. You can do that differently. You can realize that you have more than two people who love you. And again, you don't have to say I'm sorry. Embracing him will say I'm sorry. It'll speak for itself. And you'll have the quality of life, a greater quality of life than you've ever had before. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses all understanding. Remember, we want you to, if you're in our area, come and worship with us at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809, every Sunday at 10 a.m. If you're not in our area, you can tune in to the Sunday sermon on our YouTube channel.